Hear about it. Talk about it now with Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 6:16. Thanks for joining us this morning. A lot of fog out there. Be careful on your way in. Joining us, pro-death penalty advocate Dudley Sharp and Jeff Blackburn. Jeff is the chief counsel for the Texas Innocence Project. Dudley, Jeff, welcome to Houston's Morning News.
Thanks for having us on.
It is our pleasure. Dudley, let me start with you. We're running out of the drug cocktail that puts people to death that we have to inject in those that are being executed. Is it time to bring back the firing squad, do you think?
Well, first of all, there's no evidence we're running out of the drug. If you read the report, they're speculating. Texas has decided that they don't have to report what they have regarding a lethal injection drug. For all we know, they've got a 2-year supply.
So you don't believe they're running out?
We don't know because they're not telling anybody. The report that you're discussing is only from a reprieve activist in England against the death penalty who is guessing that based on the number of vials they had a year or so ago, that they only have enough drugs for 6 more executions. But Texas has decided they don't have to comment on it. But Mike Ward of the Austin American Statesman interviewed somebody within the system who implied that having enough drugs for 6 remaining executions is not true. We have no idea.
All right. Jeff, let me talk to you about this statement that you made.
If we were really honest as a society, we would just draw and quarter people or boil them in oil or something.
Now, you're the guy that's actually against the death penalty, but I like the way you think, sir.
Well, here's the problem. We've tried to sanitize this process to the point where people don't really understand exactly what this punishment's all about. I would like to think that most people now understand that we do not have a perfect criminal justice system, far from it. But in fact, from the work that my organization and a lot of others have done, I think we've showed that the Texas system has a lot of problems. Now, if people could honestly confront what this problematic system really does, I think that then they might begin to change their minds. But as it is, we put everything in a nice sanitized corner where nobody has to deal with. And while I'm sure that might offend people, a lot of people, how could I say a thing like that? I'm just saying we should be honest as a society. If we want to kill people using the machinery of the law, we should be open and above board like they used to do it in England.
Well, listen,
go ahead.
Jeff, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. All right, gentlemen, hang on. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about what maybe we can do. Let's say we did run out of the drug cocktail. Are there other ways that we can put people to death? Dudley, let me ask you this. Now, you heard what Jeff just said, that maybe we should boil people in oil. Obviously, he was being a bit facetious. But let's say we run out of this drug cocktail. Are there other ways we can execute people here in Texas?
I think it's unlikely we're going to run out of it, but I'll be happy to address that. I mean, there's a lot of countries that make this drug that would be happy to export it to Texas or other death penalty states. But the Supreme Court has never ruled against any method of execution in the United States. So obviously firing squads would still be available, electric chairs, or any execution method in the past. However, none of the states want to include torture as part of the method of execution. And so the sanction is execution. It's not torture.
Yeah, and I think that Jeff, obviously, I understood the spirit of what Jeff was saying. I completely concur with that and been having some fun with that soundbite. But Jeff, you don't think that the death penalty is a deterrent to crime?
Well, I think it's been pretty well demonstrated. We've had the death penalty for a long time, and it hasn't led to an appreciable decrease in crime. It's just there's too big a disconnect between the penalty and the crime itself. The problem is the penalty in the context of our system. We know, every day the newspapers are full of stories about people that have been wrongfully convicted, and it just seems to me the height of absurdity for us to trust our system enough to kill people when we can't really trust it to even convict people on fair and good evidence. We've got too many flaws and too many problems in the criminal justice system, especially in Texas.
How would you respond to that, Dudley?
Well, we know the death penalty is a deterrent because every prospect of a negative consequence deters some people. We know that. Even rabid anti-death penalty people don't say the death penalty deters nobody. And we have 28 studies in the past 12 years saying that the death penalty does deter. So it's absurd to say that it doesn't deter. Regarding putting innocents at risk, I think if you look at the Innocence Projects nationwide, the overwhelming majority of cases that have been found to be innocent by DNA are non-death penalty cases. So what we can say is that it's more likely that an innocent person will die while they're in prison than it is that we will execute an innocent person.
All right.
Thereby, the death penalty is going to protect more innocent people.
Dudley and Jeff, I want to thank you both for your time here. Obviously, very passionate on both sides, and we appreciate you guys coming on with us.